Welcome to TheoTrade. This is Don Kaufman. Here we are. It's May 11th, 2017, doing the Theo Night video. Well, if you were an intraday trader, you may have blinked and missed it, but we actually had a little bout of volatility on an intraday basis, albeit very minimally in time before, of course, the buyers came back in. And ultimately, where did we end up on the day? Down, the S&P down a whopping 3. Again, it's tough when you're looking at markets and they try to stage a broader sell-off today, and specifically inside of the Nasdaq. The Nasdaq, one point, it was getting pummeled over here. There was hope for us bears. The Nasdaq, though, generally speaking, the entire market massively unchanged. Here's actually some areas of weakness, and then I'm going to move on to a completely different topic. But the Russell still under a degree of pressure. It did bounce off the 1380, as did the entire market, but the Russell still closing down about 0.7% on the trading day. The bonds largely unchanged even after a 30-year auction in the bond product. And one of the products that I really want to examine, and I have been examining a tremendous amount lately, is none other than the financials, which early in trade today displayed fairly extreme levels of volatility. Again, closing down about 0.6%. But as you know, or if you don't know this, I've been watching the financials like a hawk week in and week out. If the financials start to approach and or breach the 24 level, and I want to be crystal clear about this, the 24 level, that would actually be a sign up in anywhere in this area, be a sign for the S&Ps and a clean shot for the S&Ps to hit 2350 plus. Okay, at this point, we're quite a distance away from that. So again, for me, carrying bearish positions, I'm sweating a little less given the fact that the XLF is backed off now to 2366. Now, on a completely unrelated topic, so this week we've seen rather low implied volatility. But one of the things, I've taken a lot of emails this week, and really in any recent week, I get a lot of emails about this discussion of IPOs. And of course, everybody right now, they're talking about, and if you will, poking even a little bit of fun at Snapchat after this, the first earnings announcement, which was a complete and utter debacle. They lost $2.2 billion in a quarter. I don't know about you, but that must have been one heck of a party over there for $2.2 billion to lose that. Nevertheless, I keep having this, hey, what's the next IPO coming up? What's the next IPO? Listen, I've been around the trading business for almost 20 years, but I was in the brokerage business for 15 years. And very frankly speaking, in recent times, okay, how many successful IPOs can you really name? And it's just something for you to think about over here, because we're going to go through a few of them, but this is a legitimate question here. Okay, this is the inception of Snapchat. Forget about the actual IPO. It's where it actually traded in the secondary market that matters. Okay, it initially traded up in the 24 handle. It's now down at 17, right? You're a loser. Any way you want to look at it. Show prices percentage over here. The stock's down about 26%. The IPO price, again, was, nearing the 18. By the way, most people that IPO'd into Snapchat, if you're not aware of this, they had a 1-year lockup period. Not just the employees, mind you, but individuals that wanted sizable chunks of Snapchat, okay, had to sign off that they cannot do anything with their position for 1 year. All of a sudden, now the stock's down, 26%. They're like, ooh, that year cannot come quick enough. Well, it's not there yet. Anyway, with that, one thing that really resonated with me in all these emails that I get about IPOs, can we really name, okay, any wildly successful IPOs? Obviously, many of you guys are going to point out Facebook. And I've watched Facebook since the day it IPO'd. In fact, I worked, of course, at TD Ameritrade and thinkorswim when when Facebook IPO'd over there, and we'll look, back in time, it's kind of meteoric rise to, 300%. However, very few people remember the absolute debacle of Facebook when it initially launched, and the stock was in like the 42 range, dropped all the way down here to 1755 and never looked back. Okay. All right. So we picked out one very bright spot to ultimately begin with. And now I'm going to go to like a 5-year weekly. So we're talking about stocks that have IPO'd really in the last 5 years. Clearly, we could point out stocks like Google, but Google now is a teenager. It's getting up there, right? Amazon, which has been around since the, prior to the tech bubble days. But again, in the last 5 years, can you legitimately think of a number of products out there? Shall we start, with Twitter? So let's take a quick glance at Twitter. Down 55% since the initial public offering, And this is, again, this is in the secondary market, but down 55%. Let's kind of continue on over here. One I remember very, very well, GRPN. That's none other than, that's GRPN, Groupon. Down about 70% from the IPO over here. I'm not done, We're not even close to done. Let's go after a big one, Baba, all right? Alibaba, one of the most anticipated IPOs in recent history because obviously its entrance to the Chinese marketplace. We will call this at this point in time a mild success, given the fact, hey, listen, it's up some 27%, but only until the beginning of this year, all right, has the stock been up at all. And again, I want to remind everybody, this is only since the beginning of 2016. Otherwise, generally speaking, this has not exactly been a growth type or an explosion type stock. So went to Baba. Obviously, we already talked about this, but Snap. Oh yeah, I wrote a couple of them down. So there's Snap. Wait, I got a fun one over here. Is it really in the last couple of years? Well, no, this one's a little longer. General Motors. Up 61%. You're like, why would you throw GM in there? GM has been around forever. No, it only IPO'd in 2010 after it went bankrupt. Nobody remembers this stuff. So, that was when the symbol went bankrupt, and then it relaunched here. Is it a success? Oh, yeah, I set you up for that one, didn't I? It's not a success. It's completely unchanged from the initial public offering the second time around. That's the second time around. The first time around, it ended not so well. Anyway, let's continue on. This is becoming fun. Yelp. Listen, I gotta tell you on a personal level, Don's not a big fan of the Yelp out there. Nevertheless, Yelp is also, it's been around quite a while, but I wanted to bring it up on a relative scale. Is this a success? Well, it's making a valiant effort to the downside right now, but it's largely speaking kind of unchanged after having this meteoric rise in here. So wait, Don is not done yet. Let's go over here. Let's go to Zynga. So if you're unfamiliar with Zynga, absolutely tanked, also associated with Facebook. They make some games out there. So Zynga tanked. Wait, here comes a good one. What? Did you think I was going to forget about Tesla? I'm not trying to just cherry pick things over here. I'm looking from the IPOs, and I know it came out in the last, 5 years or so. So Tesla, and again, I have a 10-year weekly up over here, but the thing only IPO'd, again, back in 2010, exploding up 1,255%. Now you can make an argument. Well, but Don, that offset all the losses you've taken in all the other products. You could make that argument. But that's assuming you've actually held it pretty much since it hit the public market over there. I've actually held a few stocks, and after making a couple of percent, you're usually like, I gotta get out of here. Wait, I'm not done yet. GoPro, absolutely horrific since the initial public offering. Let's go over to Shack, which is Shake Shack. That was one highly anticipated. Come on, it's down about 20% over there. That's only a minimal loss. Pandora. Anybody remember Pandora? Down about 50% since the IPO. All All right, many of you probably use Pandora. Then we go to Mule. If you're unfamiliar with Mule, that's okay. Nobody knows this one. It's a fairly new one that came out, but it was anticipated. Not hotly anticipated, but it's down. It's down now, you know, about $3-4 since the IPO price over there. Wait, I have another good one. And the last, but definitely not least, we'll look at Trivago. And Trivago came out right around the $11 and has rallied up quite considerably. But again, it's still early in its life. I just wanted to take a quick trip down memory lane for the IPO market and get you to realize how dismal the IPO market has been. And frankly speaking, since I've been in this business now, I'm going to completely exclude 99 and 2000 because pretty much if you had an idea and like, you know, e-toys, you were making a few $100 million in an IPO that didn't end well. Excluding all of that though, really looking at the IPO marketplace over the last 5 years, it truly has been rather dismal. And when you start to look down the screen over here, you realize there's less and less products that people are actually purchasing. And again, the weight of the world these days really rests on Microsoft, Facebook, Apple, Google, Amazon. Their market cap alone accounts for like over 10% now of the S&P 500. Just some interesting food for thought over there this evening. And hey, listen, email us anytime you think of some other large, successful IPOs. We want to hear about them. Thanks everybody for joining us at TheoTrade. Have a wonderful evening. Bye-bye.